then you will probably be best suited to have your book printed on a print-on-demand basis, which means that when someone orders a copy of your book, then they will the company will print the book as it's ordered. Instead of the alternate is you pay a ton of money to have a whole bunch printed at one time, and then there's boxes and boxes and boxes of your book, and they have to live somewhere. That is my grandkids who were in a Christmas concert tonight, and they're responding to me telling them how much I thought they did a great job. Anyhow, so if you don't want to have boxes and boxes of books living in your basement or paying for them to be stored on an Amazon warehouse, or if you don't want to spend the money to have a ton of books printed, then you're better off doing print on demand. The downside is that it does cost a little bit more per book than if you were to buy a bunch, like 1,000 books printed all at the same time. Then the cost per book would be less. But most people would be really thrilled if they sold 500 copies of their book. And that's the truth. Most self-published authors would be thrilled to sell 500 copies of their book. So probably you don't have to really, that's not really something you're going to be thinking about too much. Also, just, yeah, sure, it's per cost is less if you buy a whole bunch at one time, but then you have to store them somewhere, and it has to be stored somewhere where they will be safe and they won't get damaged, and they'll be climate controlled and humidity controlled and all of those things. And if you want Amazon to fulfill your orders, then you have to pay for Amazon to store them. If you want Barnes and Noble to fulfill your orders, same thing. So, hey, Rook, glad you could come in. So that's one of the issues, that's one of the concerns, is the storage, the keeping them safe, the keeping them in good condition, and all of that stuff. So print on demand is the way to go, in my opinion. And I have 3 favorite print on demand companies. And I'm not going to say in any particular order. Well, maybe I will. I don't know. So my number one that I've used the most is Amazon. So Amazon's print on demand system is pretty seamless. You end up in Amazon's catalog, which is great. If you do not have an ISBN number, which is one way where how your book is recognized in for ordering for other bookstores or in the Library of Congress, all of those things. If you haven't purchased ISBN numbers for books, then they will provide you an ISBN number for your book free of charge, but it is associated with them. So when you have a book printed by them, you can't take that book and print it elsewhere with that ISBN number. That is just for their platform. The downside to Amazon's print on demand is that it's really very cost effective. They actually have the best money situation of all of them. It's the cheapest per unit, all of that. The downside is that they are very, very picky about what goes into your book. For instance, public domain books, they will not let you do a public domain book, at least not just straight public domain book, without having some addition to it or revision of it or illustrations added or something like that. And sometimes even then they won't let you. But here's what they'll really do, which sucks, is they reduce the amount of your royalty. The royalty is how much the author or creator of a published book receives when it's sold. They reduce it down greatly. So even though if you have written an original book and you are the original author, you get, I think it is Mm, Rook, tell me what you think. How much is it? Do you know what the percentage is now for print books on Amazon? I can't remember what it is. It used to be 30%. It might be more now. They just changed their situation, their terms.